Smith. Welcome to Guildford.
What am I doing in Guildford?
I've no idea.
I have no. You got the wrong shirt on.
No, I got the right
Fender
shirt
or something.
Yeah, this is actually one of my favourite shirts as well. It's like I mean, I'm wearing it because it's a special occasion, but I wear this all the time.
No logo on mine. Okay?
I know. I'll get you an Andertons one before the end of the day.
I'll take an Andertons.
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
So what brings you back to Guildford?
You and your videos. You and your worldwide viewed videos. Now we've got a good deal, you and I.
We are having fun.
I supply you with instruments, and you supply your customers with instruments, and it seems to be working.
Well, we got off to a good start this year, didn't we? Or at least I did, anyway.
Yeah.
I haven't named it yet. Do you think? Do you name it? Are you a namer? Do you give your guitars names?
Did
like
you
as
name
in
it
ladies'
the freebie?
names. Yeah, the freebie. I
Is
should
that
do.
What you
Yeah.
named it, the freebie?
What's your favourite kind of guitar? The free ones.
Actually, when people pay money for a guitar, they have more respect for it.
Well,
Isn't that kind of weird, though? It's true.
But I wanted to buy this, so I was going to buy this anyway. So I kind of feel like I don't really consider it like a freebie that someone gave me that I never wanted. This meant a lot. But so, are you a namer?
Look.
You know.
No, I'm not a namer.
Okay.
But I don't like the name freebie. I like the fact that this was meant to be.
Yep.
And you have been working very hard worldwide to let everybody know what you think about guitars, whether they are my brand or somebody else's brand. And this was more of an appreciation, and it was good. It was good fun.
I mean, again, I know I said this before. This was a real watershed moment for me because it's kind of. Does someone have this is awesome. Someone has a mobile phone with African drums on it as their ringtone.
It's me.
And I think it's Paul. Let's see. Is it John Mayer on the phone? How cool would that be? Let's see.
I don't know. Let's see.
Just pretend, even if it isn't.
My friend. I'll call you back. Bye.
So was that John Mayer then?
No, it wasn't John. Although he does call.
Well, I know he does. I mean, he must do because
Well,
it
you got an
seems like
amp
the two
behind
of
you that we worked on together.
have become
and the
good
video
friends.
says that we actually worked on it together. And
well, let's talk about. So you're here for to do a show for us tonight for 220 lucky customers that are coming to hear you talk about
guitars. Are you going to film it?
I think we'll film snippets of it, but I always kind of think if you film it and give away, then people don't want to come to the event the next time to see it in person. So we've got you in to just chat. And
So I had an experience while I was here.
did you?
Not that doing a video with you is not an experience, but we were having an event where we had invited all the European dealers here to London, and there was a big room of guitars, and they were looking to which guitars they wanted for their shops. And I thought, I wonder what it would be like to go in the room as a professional musician and look for an instrument because I needed an instrument.
Yeah.
Which John McLaughlin did the year he was here. He says, wait a minute, leave me alone. I want to go look at the guitars. Carlos Santana was in our booth. He goes, everybody get away from me. I want to look around and see if there's a guitar that wets my whistle, Having Joe Walsh in the factory the same way. He just wanted to go around and be with the guitars. It was really cool, right? Because guitars are in these guys' blood. They love it, right?
Yeah.
Neil Sean walking around the factory, it's just good fun. So I said, okay, I'll do it. So there's a Paul's guitar there. Well, you have one of those here somewhere.
Did I take a Paul's guitar? I think I did. Here we go.
Yeah. So we have one of these in private stock, and I'm looking at all the private stocks. And the private stock department and I work very closely together every single day. And I pick up a bunch of other guitars, and I pick this one up, and I go, oh, whoa. Oh, I really like this. And there's 3 others just like it. And I went, they got to be all the same. So I went and I tried the other ones, and they were brothers and sisters of the same family, right? And I went, why is this one talking to me? What is that? What is that? And I went, well, let's go plug it in. And I went and plugged it in, and oh my God, this tone erupted that was here, which I'll show you. The bass pickup. Almost like I got an EBO on it. It was beautiful, right? And then the treble pickup, the treble pickup can't be that good, right? oh my God, what a guitar, right? So I went, I had to make sure it was true. So I checked it out with somebody else, you know, and this, that, and the other. And I brought all the dealers into the room. I said, this has been sitting there for 3 hours and you guys missed it. I said, my people did their job, which was, it's not just the way it looks, it's the way it sounds and it feels. And there's just something, we're a magic musical instrument. And the dealer who I brought over to the guitar said, you got to check this guitar out. He goes, I don't know. I said, you got to be kidding me, right? The entire room went, wow, we love that. And I was plugged into that amp, the Mayer amp, right? And they went, we love the way that guitar sounds. And then I went, well, can I walk away? And so I bought it. And I had been looking at an old guitar that Ted McCarty had made in a shop here. And I was thinking about buying that, and I was buying this and buying that. I thought this was transitional in a way because there was nothing I was asking it to do that it wasn't doing, and sometimes old instruments don't do what you ask them to do. We were playing with an old instrument that you had today. It's not exactly doing exactly what I wanted it to do. Right? Well, we just did that video a second ago, and it was doing things that I hadn't experienced before. I'm just starting to get used to how many different sounds are in the volume controls and this, that, and the other. So I had the same experience as your customers. I found a magic one, and had it been another brand, I would have bought it. Had it been another brand, whatever, if it had touched my heart, I would have got it. Because all people go, you know something? There's a guitar I sold once I wish I hadn't sold, and there's a guitar I fell in love with once and I didn't get. Buy it, and they're always upset about it. If you do, we'll do the clinic tonight when we do it. We'll ask that question. Watch how many hands go in here. I didn't want to walk away.
Do you know what yours is? I know what mine is. Mine's actually an acoustic
guitar. Well, I didn't let that happen. I got it.
But you must have done back in your 20s or whatever. I'm an employee.
I have to buy this.
I know, but back in your 20s or whatever, when money was a little tighter or whatever, there must have been something that got away that you thought, do you know what?
There was one.
What was it?
I was at a vintage guitar show, and there was a Martin D28 employee guitar.
Okay.
And it sounded unbelievable. And I brought it to the guy who ran the trade show. I said, what do you think of this guitar? He goes, the employee guitars, they don't hold their value and this, that, and the other. I said, but it's the best sounding Martin I ever heard in my life. And he goes, I don't know, it's not worth the money. And I took his advice and I didn't buy it. And I've regretted it ever since that day. Because it was an employee guitar. It was, and they didn't have whatever vintage value. Big mistake. I walked away from a musical instrument that would have been, my family forever. Which one did you walk away from?
I was in. I'm not going to say the retailer's name because it'd be a bit unfair, but it was in America. It was a '63 Hummingbird that just was pretty worn in. Had an incredible colour to it, I guess, because of the age of the instrument. It sounded and played unbelievable. But anyway, it was quite expensive at the time. It was about $4,000, and this is going back.
That's dollars, not pounds.
Yeah, 15 years maybe. It was one of the first ever times I've been to the NAMM show. And this particular retailer that I was at had a reputation for overpricing their vintage gear. So I walked away and I came back to the UK. It nagged at me. I spoke to a couple of vintage guitar dealers about, if you ever get a '63 Hummingbird, let me know, I want to try it. None of them were ever as good. And the stupid thing was now, of course, within 3 or 4 years, any '63 Hummingbird that I could find was selling for more than $4,000 anyway. So I was just like, God damn it!
I've played 10 J50s, and the one that old ones, and the one that David Grissom lent me, that Ricky Skaggs ended up nicking off me, as you would say, sounded much better than all the other ones. It's a for our job though is that if you buy one of these 594 private stocks, 594, I'm saying it in English now. It's 594.
You call it a 594? What do we call it over here? We call it a 594.
Like you say a 335. We say 335.
You're completely
You
right.
want to explain that one to me? We say water. You go water.
Yeah. Well, if you want to go into the origins of the English language and who's probably got it right between England and America, let's just do it. But it's up to you.
You'll win that battle. I can't really compete on that one. But you have your own attitudes about your own accents. Your Liverpool and Cockney is very different. I mean, and Manchester, they're all different. And posh, English.
But you have to, in the States, you have to
do you
probably
speak
drive.
the Queen's English?
I think if you're from the southeast of England, you probably speak a slightly less posh version of the Queen's English than the Queen would speak, but you don't really have a strong accent. But you only have to drive, 100 miles in any direction. You can go, north into the Midlands or, west into the West Country, and the accents change so fast.
Yeah, so fast. For us, it's the same. We've got a Boston accent.
Yeah.
There's a Maryland accent.
But how many
Texas accent?
It just seems
Southern accent. Y'all are not around from around here, are you?
Yeah.
I mean, we have the same thing, and so we have reorganized your language just beautifully.
I love it. I love all the colloquialisms, and I think it makes the world a more interesting place to be in.
We don't say the dog's bollocks where I'm from.
Dog's bollocks. What did I say? You said to me earlier on as well that I just want you to talk in some sort of Mockney rhyming slang. Yeah. So I said, "All right, me old China," and you didn't. And we fell at the first hurdle. You didn't even know. So, is anybody? Everyone, help me out here. Tell Paul what me old China is. China plate, mate. That's where it comes from. I don't even know what the origins of the rhyming slang is, but it's fun, isn't it? Dog's bollocks. I can't believe the dogs. Where would that have come from? Because that's bollocks has got to be a relatively modern term. I don't even know where that could come from.
So now we've gone from really nice guitars that you fall in love with and have to buy, no matter what brand they are, and once you walked away to the dog's box. Maybe we should stop.
Okay. We always seem to. Well, look. Let's at least talk about what's going to be interesting for 2017.
Do you still like this guitar?
I have played this exclusively. I only got this guitar on Wednesday, and today is Friday. So I spent most of Wednesday afternoon noodling on it, and actually not much time on Thursday because I wasn't in the office much, and plenty of time today. And I will just say, I was really surprised, and I'm still surprised at the pickups on this 594 are a very low output, but it just sustains for days. So
So you know what that's from?
What's that from?
It comes from the fact that the tuning pegs, the nut, the bridge, the woods, the finish, everything, if they're not made correctly, they try to stop the string from vibrating. The string wants to vibrate. It really wants to keep going. And we've done everything in our power to make the guitar acoustically do that. That's more acoustic than pickup. Right? Yeah. So, if you turn the pickup down and do the same thing, it'll still sustain.
Yes,
right?
I noticed that.
Right, so here's the other story, which I find fascinating. A 594. God, I can't believe I'm using an English colloquialism. The 594 was originally designed with double cutaway. Yeah. But the artist said to us when we sent him, he said, "Well, when you make the single cut, I'll start playing one." And that's what you're holding. You're holding the single cutaway version of that. It really is a nice play guitar, and everybody, and I will do a video where I bought a custom shop 58 Les Paul about 3 years ago, which I like very much too, and everybody wants to see the single cut 594 versus Les Paul 58 reissue video, and it's kind of like I'm going to do it, but I don't feel like one is trying to outdo the other one. I just feel like both make great noises, and some days I'm going to want to pick one up, and some days I'm going to want to pick the other one up. But if I've done my job,
I should want to pick this one up more.
Boy, if I haven't done my job, that's exactly what it is. You've got a rock star. Yeah. He's getting ready to go on stage. He's got a boat full of guitars. They call them boats, right? You've got them over here. And what he's going to do, he's going to pick up the one that he's most comfortable with when the lights go out. Yeah. Give me the yellow one, right? Or give me the blue one. Give me this. Give me that.
Yeah, it may well be this one. Certainly, I think I'm probably more confident that something like this will be a little bit more stable tuning-wise than the other one. But beyond that, I don't know. If I play the same guitar exclusively for a month.
Yeah.
I really do need to. I need to play something different just to refresh that sense of,
You're
different
a gear
guitars.
Slut.
Yeah, different guitars
He's a
inspired
gear
different
slut.
licks, different pedals inspired
There's somebody
different
behind
licks.
the camera. He smiled. He knows what he's laughing. He knows.
Aren't we all gear sluts ultimately?
No,
Well,
we're
you
not
are.
all.
You are.
Oh, my wife will say to me at 9 at night, and I'm looking on eBay for this piece of gear I want. She goes, "Are you slutting?" It comes from a term of there's a website in America of the gear sluts, where all the people who are always looking for the answers to gear, mostly for the recording industry, is where it came from. And I was just like, that's me. I'm a gear slut. Look, I enjoy nice pieces of gear.
Yeah.
I really enjoy nice pieces of gear. I had this talk with Eric Johnson, and he said, yeah, well, I spent a lot of time working on the gear. I said, yeah, but when it's right, it's almost like you can just fly. And he goes, you're right. You're right. When it's right, it's just like you play different.
And I think I've spent, probably the first 5 or 6 years of making videos trying to justify to other people why they should, certain instruments are cost more than other instruments. And certainly more recently, I've taken the view, and I think the correct view, that final, whatever, there's 80-90% or whatever of it that is tangible, and it is, yes, I can hear that sounds nicer than that, or plays nicer or whatever. That final 20%, which I think when you get into top end guitars can cost thousands and thousands of pounds extra, that final 20% or 10% it's only you, and it is about that ability to fly. I love that metaphor, that ability to just go, something's happened, I'm using all the gear is just doing it for me, and I'm flying.
All right, so why are your videos so popular? So I have a theory. Used to be, you want to walk in a store and you would buy guitars the way women buy shoes. Bring me 10 sets, get away from me, and I'll try them all. And let's just see what it is. Now they're shopping online, and so they're not in a brick and mortar store when they're doing that. Although people still go to lots of brick and mortar stores, and then they have to watch the 10 videos to have an idea of which one they want to try. Yeah. And when they finally order on the internet, there's usually a return policy in America anyway. They give a few days to return it, and most of the guitars don't go back.
It is a tiny percentage, but that's, I guess, I don't know. Why is that? I guess it's testament to the fact that
so
most guitars are so
your
good.
Videos are a version of women buying shoes in the old store. That's my analysis of your videos. How do you like that? Well, they need somebody to try the gear out because they can't do it sitting at their computer.
I do, and I think there's an element of, if I do want, I think at the heart of it, I am my customer. I'm not a super talented professional musician. I'm a musician. I'm a guitar player that plays for love. I just love it. I love to own guitar stuff, and I think we're critical when it's right to be critical, and we're positive when it's right to be positive, and hopefully people go, I trust these two guys.
Well, there you go.
But look,
you just got the guitar, and right now it's your baby.
Well, it's my baby, and I must admit, the reason I took the John Mayer amplifier to try was, obviously a lot of people say that I look a bit like John Mayer, and we go out with similar kind of girlfriends and stuff like that. So I thought it was really only appropriate that no one's ever said I look like John Mayer, and
you just
pretty
said,
sure
you
we don't
said
go out
that.
with kind of similar girlfriends, and I certainly can't play anything like him. And I loved it when he was. I thought that 20 minutes or whatever that you had John present at the NAMM show was. It was so nice to hear John talking about guitars rather than in most interviews where all the late night TV show wants to talk about is some bullshit about his private life or whatever like that. It was so nice to hear him talking about guitars.
So let me explain to everybody what you're talking about.
Yeah.
John came to the NAMM show, and we invited the best dealers in the world to a room. There were probably 110 people in the room, something like that, and people from Japan, from England, from America, from Germany, from everywhere, from Italy. And John went and demonstrated this new amp for everybody live on. This was no video. This was him live, and we asked everybody to put their phones away, and still people were holding phones up.
Yeah.
And even, we're talking about the most professional people in the world. They couldn't help themselves because it was John Mayer demonstrating this thing, and I thought he played spectacularly, and you were there watching that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had his Super Eagle, and he had his Strat, and he was just. But he said a really interesting thing, and I think this is a.
By the way, this video is online. You can watch it.
Yeah, he did another version of this, didn't he? Like afterwards, but he said an interesting thing, which was that obviously you see a lot of these guitar aficionados using Dumble amplifiers. Stevie Ray Vaughan back in the day, him, Robin Ford, all these kind of guys, and he kind of said an interesting thing, which was that without wanting to sound big-headed, you do kind of need to be quite a good guitar player to really get good noises out of this kind of amplifier. So
and he didn't mean that arrogantly.
No, and it didn't come across arrogantly.
It reproduces exactly what you play.
Yeah, it really, and I was impressed because I thought that's a difficult thing to say without sounding arrogant, but he did manage to say it without sounding arrogant, which was very cool.
He basically said, it does this thing
Yeah.
that every little teeny nuance that I play comes
Yeah.
out of the amp.
Yeah.
It's not covering anything up. The other thing he said, which I thought was interesting, he says, I'm sick of looking for a unicorn amp. He says, I want something that's readily available, because
Yeah.
I'm always looking for a unicorn. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's true, isn't it? But I mean, where the we're not
Where's
loud.
the reverb coming from?
Just a little pedal behind it.
You've got a. Oh, so
you
you've
want
got
me
a pedal in the loop.
Yeah,
Okay, that's fine. Leave it on.
Yeah.
That's what John does. He puts a.
It's certainly, I mean, again, I'm not going to try and pretend that I'm playing anything like the kind of riffs that John Mayer would play, but it's got a big, nice, clean sound, and it certainly doesn't compress up. The reason I played that kind of riff was just to sort of. And I guess maybe not even at this volume, but at slightly higher volumes, that's where you would start to find that, and it doesn't kind of bounce back at you as fast. Mm-hmm. So I get, when you look at stylistically how someone like John Mayer plays, or how someone like Stevie Ray Vaughan would have played and everything, you can see why that's the level of performance they need from an amplifier.
A lot of people think that Stevie Ray Vaughan plays really bright, but if you go listen to his records, they're big, thick,
it's just huge, isn't it?
Huge sounding guitars. It's not thin, tweedly little B sounding things. People go, well, Stevie Ray Vaughan's really bright, and you put it up off of YouTube or whatever, or just at their computer and they go, oh, I thought it was bright.
Yeah.
It's this immense big guitar, and it's one guitar. You add 5 guitars together, it doesn't sound so big, but when you do one big guitar, oh my God, it sounds huge.
He still does that note, doesn't he? And I just don't think anybody.
Well, that's an Albert Collins thing.
Oh, he stole that from him, but did he? But it's still that kind of just wow, it's huge.
Did you hear Albert Collins play the A note?
I will have. Do you know, we were having this exact same discussion in store the other day about the sort of the Freddie King, Albert Collins kind of just like, and I'm like, I think I can picture each one, and I'm not sure I can, but they all had their thing, didn't they? But certainly.
I saw Albert Collins one night, and he was playing an A note against an A chord. It was one hell of an A note. Oh my God! What?
Actually, maybe it was. There's a it was
just huge. It was huge.
There was a famous interview that Gary Moore did with a guitar magazine. Who did Gary Moore do he did an album with? I think it was Albert King, maybe it was Albert Collins, whatever. And it was Gary Moore said, I'd just done my solo, and it was just like, rapid, lots of big bends and fast licks and everything like that. And then the Albert King or Albert Collins or whoever it actually was, and I'm sure people will comment below, just play one note. And Gary Moore just said, I just got destroyed. He just played one note. And he was like, fair enough.
Sean McLaughlin did that to me once at one of our events.
Really?
He walked up,
Picked out the magic note, did he?
I had not played a lot of notes, but I'd played some. And he played one note, and I walked up to the mic and said, you just destroyed me with one note. And John's known for playing a lot of notes.
Yes.
You know, there's a really good Hendrix quote. How does it feel? They asked him, how does it feel to be the greatest guitar player in the world? He says, I don't know, go ask Roy Gallagher. And I went back, and I'd always been a Roy Gallagher fan, and I went back and watched videos after I heard that comment, and he was making that stuff was coming out of the guitar, shouldn't have been coming out of the guitar.
Yeah. So look, let's talk about a couple of guitar ranges that are using some slightly different timbers to normal. If you're familiar with the SE range, you'll know that there's a ton of different models, custom 24s, SE 245s, Tremontis, baritones, all kinds of stuff. And as a limited run for 2017, you've chosen some cool timbers to use as tops. And you've also done things which I've not seen you do before, like put satin necks on the guitars. What do you call this? Is this Blackwood or something? I forget what this is called, this top on here. But what was the inspiration?
I call it beautiful wood.
You call it beautiful wood. That's ebony. It's ebony, is it, on the top? And is this just something you've always been fascinated with? The different way woods grow.
We found out that they had it in stock, and they weren't using it. And we said, we'll have that, as you guys say. We'll have that. I'll have that. So
because I liked as well. I thought some of the binding on this, where you were doing the sort of the pinstripe binding around the neck and everything, it just looks stunning.
Look, for the money, I'm not gonna beat it. This is not gonna happen.
This is a little bit like my 594, isn't it? I guess if you want a 594 and you're shopping in SE money, the 245 is the closest kind of thing that you'll get.
Makes me feel good when I hear you do that.
What's that?
That sounds professional to me, and if you're going to get a professional sound out of a guitar at that price point, we've done our job.
Yeah, I mean, all of these actually arrived today, so these are straight out the box. They just you do an exceptionally good job with the SE range.
It's we, you guys, all of you at PRS.
Well, whoever's
all 250 of you.
When I say you, I mean you as the collectively as your team.
And Gab and Jez and everyone.
So look, I'll put a link in the description below where you can see all the different finishes. If you're coming tonight, you lucky people, you'll see them all there. Or come to the store and see them all there.
So let me ask this, did you cut it off at 250 people to come tonight?
That's the maximum the venue holds, yes. We sold out. I'll tell you now.
We break the laws in America for the fire marshal all the time. You don't do that here?
I didn't want... So we have... You'll like this. The last time you were over in the UK, Jez said, look, Paul's over and he can do a show. And it was literally 2 or 3 days after we were due to have Robin Ford here. And it was booked. And I said, look, please apologise to Paul, but I don't really want to do 2 shows 3 days apart because we've got Robin Ford coming in. Anyway, guess who phoned at the beginning of this month and said, don't suppose you want me to do a show for you later this month? And guess who I told? I'm really sorry, but I've got Paul E. Smith coming in. I don't really want to do 2 shows like 2 or 3 days apart.
He's a wonderful musician.
But he didn't actually phone me, but his representative over here did. So there you go. Look, it's honours even now. I've blown each of you out in favour of the other one once, just so that
Look, Robin Ford is a wonderful musician. He did a record called "Talk to My Daughter."
Yes, he did.
Talk to Your Daughter. And at that time, my daughter wasn't speaking.
Right.
And she didn't speak till she was almost 4.
Right.
And every day in my car, talk to your daughter over and over and over again. And she spoke. I just kept talking to her. And she finally, when she started talking, it was sentences, right? I told him the story. I'm not sure that he really appreciated how deeply troubling it is for a child not to speak.
Yeah.
And that this message kept erupting out of my speakers in my car,
Well, that's a cute story.
It's a true story. It's a true story. And by the way, that was the message I needed to hear. If I kept talking to her, eventually she would speak.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
There you go.
So
how old's your daughter now?
She's working on House of Cards. She's working on this huge thing with Kevin Spacey. She's part of the theater industry.
Amazing.
Yeah, she's doing great.
So you're talking, well, good for her.
And
Look,
she's thinking about doing a movie.
really?
Yeah.
In front of the cameras or behind the cameras?
Both.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so she's a USC theater graduate, University of Southern California.
Does she have a stage name, or will people be able to work out
No,
who she
Sarah
is?
Lane Smith works just fine. She can use the name she was given. And if she wants to argue with me about that, and it means something, you know.
Do you
You
know
ever see The Interview? He does it with his fingers.
Oh yeah. To be honest with you, the Richie Blackmore kind of thing, that riff is he plays it quite differently to how most kids learn how it's played, don't they? So, yeah.
Wow.
Sounds great, doesn't it?
Wow.
Do you know what? Tell me about the Sonzera then. Because Paul's plugged into one of the new sort of more affordable amps that PRS have launched this year. Unlike the amp that I'm plugged into, but it sounds great. It's got a real...
For what that is, that's highly affordable. That's a professional piece of audio gear. That's a piece of studio gear. That's a monster. If it's worth more the next day, it's not expensive.
I've touched a nerve. But...
Well, I actually don't think for what it is it's that expensive.
I would have to agree. It depends in what context.
In what context,
you are putting... Will many people be able to afford it?
No, but
is it worth
it ain't that bad.
Yes, relative to the amp that it's probably, John asked you to try and outdo.
No,
is it
he
good
did
value?
not ask me to outdo.
Oh, really? I thought
we designed something called a V9, and he played through it, and he went, "I love this. Let's tweak it." It never was taken off that schematic.
Oh, okay.
That's got that's called an old plexi output stage.
Oh, okay.
There's a whole bunch of stuff in there. The only thing that's familiar is that it's got two loops in it. One, you've got the reverb in, and the other loop is distortion stage. That is that format.
Yeah. I know. It's in terms of its electronic layout, it wasn't a copy, but wasn't the story that John had his steel string
singer that he compared it to? Absolutely, but we never opened this singer. Let me turn the clean channel on.
So anyway, back to the Sonzera.
All right, so look,
because these are going to be affordable.
It's a treble pickup.
Great.
That amp shouldn't be making that much bass, but there's a trick.
It's tiny, isn't it, relatively speaking?
And in order to make that price point, the speaker couldn't have been a huge magnet speaker, right? But listen to the bass with a treble pickup. That's a clean channel, right? Huge. Then the bass pickup. So that's the clean channel, which I adore. And we worked.
Sound good.
Doug and I worked really hard on this. And then I keep making noise with the microphone. And then the distortion channel. Is still there.
Yeah, it's got that sort of top end. Again, I know you're playing like a Carlos Santana-y kind of lick at the beginning, but you can hear that kind of gain stage in there.
There's tons of gain.
Yeah, lots and lots of gain in there.
That's not Carl. You can't.
Great. No, that wasn't. I know, but
that's not Carlos Santana.
No, it does sound really good. I'm impressed. I've not actually heard one before because
You're going to sell ridiculous amounts.
Well, I'm sure that
maybe I'll have done my job
mix.
today. And
Absolutely.
you'll like but Sonzera's a good little thing. Listen, I played through one. all this whole trip over and over again. It just keeps doing his job.
Sounds cool.
Yeah.
What's Bernie going to be playing tonight? This one, or is
I don't know what
bringing his own in?
I don't know.
We
But
shall
if they
see.
put a Sonzera up, I will have zero problem getting a tone out of it.
Oh, good. That's cool. Well, we'll look out for it. So look, SE exotic finishes. There's one with a very cool story, isn't there? So let's just grab this other guitar over. Thank you to Taylor for passing me this guitar. And whilst we're talking about kind of interesting timbers like we were on the SE range,
This is all reclaimed wood.
this is
It's like 100-year-old timbers out of houses that were cut up and barn siding and stuff that we turned into guitars. And on some of these, they have nail holes in them and worm holes and all kinds of stuff. This is a kind of rosa wood. Listen to it ring.
And is it true
Crazy.
that
And this is
you
by
evicted
Una.
an ancient tribe of Amazonian
No,
rainforest people and then bulldozed down
this
their
was an
house
old
just to
building we
steal
took
their-
down. No. This is actually the best of all worlds because it's wood that needed to be repurposed. I mean, if it's barn siding, we turn it into guitars. What's wrong with that?
Should people be worried if they've got a barn in their backyard with nice timber that, you know, one morning it just won't be there and there'll be Paury Smith in his van with the wood in the back of it driving off into the distance? Is that yes?
Yes.
So be careful.
Yeah. In America,
make sure
you're not allowed to take these 100-year-old barns down without a permit.
So
Reclaimed wood in America is a big deal, but this came from South America.
no, I mean, Jez told me about this. There's a beautiful video on the PRS site of you interviewing the
Michael about
who sources the timbers for you and has done since day one.
We sold 700 in one day.
Well, this is so I don't know how many of these Jez is going to be able to get us over here, but on the basis that he gets us what I've ordered, we've got 60 of them coming. But the chances of him getting all 60 for us are slim.
I think the chances of you getting all 60 are zero.
Well, I hope they're not.
1/10 of the production.
Well, we've pre-sold most of them already, so hopefully you can get them for me. But
Jez, you can't force us to ship you the guitars because you pre-sold them. That's
why I've got you on video, basically, so that you know.
That's
It's
one of
like
the
a
most
verbal contract.
manipulative sales things I've ever heard in my life. You pre-sold them without knowing how many were coming to make sure you got them.
Well, that's how it works.
Wow. Listen,
see?
everybody. That's very good for you and not so good for me. He's on your side. You just completely sided with your customers and not the
I always side
manufacturer.
with my customers. It's like, you know, they're my lifeblood. But look, so there's a CE24
That's
with
actually true, but without us making guitars that will
No, that's very
keep
true.
them happy.
You're both my lifeblood.
Ow.
I can't live with either of you, can I? Can't live with you? Can't live with... I don't know. Actually, that might have been a Freudian slip of the tongue. Might even be closer to the truth.
I think you
can't
have to
live
leave.
without either
You
of
have to leave all of this in.
It's all staying in.
It's all staying in.
So look, there's a CE24
Look, let me show you something.
with a hollow...
Let me show you something.
Come on then.
That doesn't sound like any brand of guitar I've ever heard. It doesn't sound like a Gibson. It doesn't sound like a Fender. It doesn't. I mean, it's got a new tone. That doesn't sound like a Gretsch. What's it sound like? I couldn't even tell you.
I've always thought CE was...
You hear the bite at the beginning of that?
Yeah.
I don't want to hear what you have to say.
No, I know
listen
you
to the
don't. Well,
guitar. Listen to that
We
thing.
got the other one.
Oh
Look,
my
it's
God.
fine. You don't have to duck, Jez. It's fine. You're beautiful anyway. People should see more of you on camera.
Okay, sorry. Thank you.
Give me this thing. I'm sorry. You can hear this old wood just resonate through the guitar.
I was pleased you bought the CE24 back in 2015 or 2016 2015 wasn't it? Because I think that the first time round the CE kind of got slightly unfairly labelled as just like the way to make an affordable
Yeah,
custom.
but people have them now. You can't rip
Yeah.
them out of their dead hands.
And that's what I like about it. People, the second time it came back, everyone went, "Oh no, actually, it's just a totally different sounding guitar. And it just sounds, it's got its own thing going on."
I'm sorry, this is a good sounding guitar. Listen to this.
Yeah,
That note is every note I play.
I know it's, you know. Inviting the trolls.
Wow. This is your sample. You don't get this guitar.
No.
I'm going to make sure you don't get this guitar.
Oh,
you
that's
don't
not very
get
nice.
this guitar. The guy behind the camera gets
I'm
the guitar.
gonna keep this one then, if that's the case.
You don't get to keep my... What is wrong? You just got that guitar.
I don't,
He's killing me over here. Magic amp back here,
Yeah.
and you got it plugged into a pedal. You want
Yeah.
to explain that to me?
'Cause I like pedals.
You got to explain, dude.
I like pedals that do the harmonic thing at the end. So obviously you need a.
I will admit,
I like that.
that's a good sounding pedal.
Yeah, that's something to do with Greg Koch, I think, designed that with the it's a Gristle King. If anybody's asking, I don't know if they're
That
still
sounds
made
like
anymore.
him. That sounds like him, Gristle King.
Yeah.
Do you know what gristle is?
Well, I know what it is in English. It's the bit of like chewy meat, isn't it, on the bone of just like, you know, like a bit of cartilage or something, isn't it?
That's exactly what it
Oh, it's
is.
the same in it. Because last time I interviewed Paul, we had some confusion over what the word grinder was.
A grinder is a person who beats you up about price.
Yeah, in America.
What is a grinder?
oh,
no,
yeah.
I remember
You do
now.
remember, don't you?
Oh, no.
So, but fortunately,
we're not conversation
it's fine.
over. Next
So,
subject.
But Gristle is the same. We're on safe ground with Gristle. That is the same in the UK as it is in America. Well, look, we have a show to go and do. We are running late, so I'm probably going to wrap this interview up.
My friend, well done.
But it's always a pleasure, never a chore. That's another little English phrase you can take with you if you want. Always a pleasure,
Always
never a chore.
chore.
Yeah. And I hope you're coming tonight. If you're one of the lucky people, we'll see you later. I'm going to bring my 594.
How many people would have signed up had you gotten a bigger venue?
Oh, there's
Seriously?
there's about 60 or 70 people on the waiting list for tickets if any of the 250 people are coming kind of can't make it.
So you
or
could have
whatever.
had a venue for 350, no problem.
Yeah, there just isn't. It's Guildford's really annoying. It's like it goes 250, 1500, and there's like nothing. So if you could just be,
I thought you were going to go 250 Wembley Stadium.
no, if you could just be sick.
I thought he was going another place.
I was gonna say, if you could just be 6 times more interesting next time, then I'll book the bigger video, the bigger venue if that's cool. So
Look, everything I try to sell goes Tupperware, so it doesn't go
should we
gold
do
or
that?
platinum.
The Tupperware party with Paul Reed Smith. That could be huge.
One of our artists said that his record had just gone Tupperware, which was it didn't go gold, it didn't go platinum, it didn't. It had gone Tupperware. God, it was a great comment.
Anyway, look, okay, so
You guys have the internet. You find out who said their CD went.
we're stocking
Tupperware.
more PRS guitars now than we've ever done in the past. So please do come in, whether you're an SE guy or
I'm so proud of my people for making
Wood
this.
Library and private stock stuff. Just come and say hi.
I'm happy with that thing.
It's,
I like
it.
this thing too.
that's kind of, I like guitars.
Look at all the holes in it. All right, we're done.
Yes,
Thank
we are.
you. Goodbye.
Right, goodbye. You might as well walk off to some sort of Morecambe and Wise, bring me sunshine.